Hi, happy Friday. This is Shayna from the Trade Exchange, and we have had an interesting week with the market continuing to hit all-time new highs. On top of that, we saw some big moves this week involving Overstock and Siebert Financial Corporation. Overstock is up over 50% this week, and Siebert Financial Corporation is up over 198%. So let's take a look at what happened. Overstock. Take a look at this company. They've more than tripled this year, and just this week, they're up over 50%. Now, this started last Friday when Morgan Stanley filed an SC13G announcing they had filed for an 11.4% stake in Overstock. And more news has been going on this week. On Wednesday, we heard about an interview with the CEO of Overstock, Patrick Byrne, with the deal. And in that interview, he said some very interesting things. He said within the next 60 to 90 days, he wants to make a decision of whether to sell a portion of Overstock or sell the company in its entirety. And he said there's three ways he could go about this. The first way is he's been speaking with a large Asian buyer who might want to make a $1 billion investment in Overstock in hopes that maybe it could take on Amazon. So the second option, it could be a brick and mortar acquisition of a company that wants to get into the e-commerce business. And he said the third option would be possibly a leveraged buyout by a private equity firm that wants to take Overstock private. He said, it's a 50% chance it would be a brick and mortar acquisition, probably a 30% chance that it could be this Asian buyer, or a 20% chance that it's a leveraged buyout. However, again, he wants to make this decision within the next 60 to 90 days so he can focus on a different venture he has, DeSoto, which is a venture to focus on alleviating poverty in developing countries by actually creating a database of land records through blockchain technology. So with that, he said there's no current bids on the table, but it is something he wants to focus on. With the first deal, he said that if that did happen, he would still maintain control of Medici Ventures, which is a company he has that he wants to focus on blockchains and cryptocurrencies. So very interesting. And then there was more news on Thursday, and it involved Overstock and it involved Siebert Financial Corp. So let's show you what happened with Siebert Financial Corp in this deal that's being reached with Overstock. So take a look first at this stock. So take a look here at Siebert Financial Corporation's stock chart because they're up 198% this week on an announcement with Overstock on Thursday. And this news was that they had signed a letter of intent. The letter of intent was between Overstock, Siebert Financial Corporation, and their subsidiary T0. And the letter of intent is that they want to offer deeply discounted online trading starting in Q1 of 2018. Now, it'll work like this. Any investor who accesses Muriel Siebert Incorporation's portal through Overstock will be able to trade for just $2.99 per trade. On top of that, Overstock wants to announce and have their membership rewards program, and those investors will be able to trade for just $1.99 per trade. Siebert says that eventually they want to expand into blockchains and cryptocurrencies. So with this really big announcement, we saw Siebert's market value go from $114 million on Wednesday to $250 million on Thursday. Let's take a look at crude oil. So crude oil had a pretty lackluster week. It's actually only up 0.05%. Now, it had a bit of volatility in the beginning of the week, and it was following the release of the API and the EIA data. Now, on both of those, they had a larger than expected draw on crude oil. However, on gasoline, there was a greater build. Following that, we had our Baker Hughes numbers today, and for the first time in a while, we saw a decrease. Oil decreased by 4 from last week to 747, and the total rig count decreased by 1 to 930. So we saw oil come back down, and again, it's only up this week, 0.05%. Take a look at your indices. So we had the Dow close up 1.32%, closing out 24,651. S&P is closed up 0.92%, closing out 2675. The Nasdaq closed up 1.41%, closing out 6936. And gold closed up 0.65%, closing out 1258.60. Now, not a lot of volatility as you see. We had the VIX close out below 10 at 9.42. Well, that sums up this week, and it's worth mentioning. We did hear from the Fed this week, and as expected, they raised the interest rates 25 basis points. Now, it didn't cause a lot of volatility in the markets because, again, it was expected. However, what did cause volatility? Well, we're all waiting to find out what happens with this tax reform bill. And there were some inconsistencies coming out with Senator Marco Rubio. And that was that it started off he was going to be a no vote unless there were some changes to the child care tax. With that, there were some revisions made, and now today he came out as a yes. So again, we saw the markets hitting all-time highs, and we did see a lot more volatility, but all due to the political side. Keep in mind next week we'll hear from the vote for the tax reform bill, and we're going to follow that, and we'll keep you posted and let you know next week what happens with that. We want to thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend. Have a great night.